So this is a continuation of the lecture that I did on suing people in court with a lawyer. There's a second direction you can go, and that's small claims. And if you fancy yourself as Perry Mason, here's your opportunity to present your own case. So why would you go to small claims court over hiring a lawyer and letting the lawyer handle the whole thing for you in a court of law? Well, because it costs less money, because it's much quicker. Those are the primary reasons. So this is still a breach of contract. You're going to sue somebody for breach of contract, and just in the previous talk, you're going to have to prove four things. The person that you're suing is the person who promised you to do some action for you, their contract, that there's a breach of contract, that the cause of the breach of contract is the reason that you've been damaged, and that physically what your damages are. So it's the same process as far as that's concerned. But there is a difference in the amount of money that you can go for. So this varies by state. In Oklahoma, it's $10,000. I think the maximum amount's California or Texas for $25,000, and I think like Mississippi is $2,500. So there's varying amounts, quite a bit of difference here. So you're going to sue the person in the state where they reside. You cannot sue somebody who's in California in Oklahoma. It doesn't work that way. It's an unreasonable burden on them. So you've got to think twice about who you're suing, because if they're 2,000 miles away, you've got a whole process you've got to go through to physically get them in court and sue them in small claims. So make sure that you know what that number is before you start, and also have a clear idea, just like in the previous talk, about what realistic damages are. If you're trying to go for things like emotional damages, good luck on that. That's probably absolutely not going to happen here. I mean, it's not that it's completely out of the question, but pretty damn close to it. So you've got to have realistic damages, and you've got to be able to substantiate those damages with evidence as what the damage has been to you. If it's a dog that died because of their action, that this is what it would cost to buy a similar dog of similar quality, of similar pedigree. And whatever that number is, that's what you're going for. If little Timmy's been sleeping on a bed at the foot of your bed for the last 10 years and you can't live without him and you want $10,000 because of that, it's not happening. If little Timmy came from the pound and didn't cost you any money at all, you're going to have a hard time proving any damages at all. Okay, do you need a lawyer? No, you do not. This is the great thing about small claims court. You can represent yourself. Is that a good idea? Depends. Depends on how complicated it is. If it's a $25,000 lawsuit in California, you may want to have a lawyer. But it's always free to go get some legal advice to start out with. Just about any lawyer will give you half an hour to an hour of their time as a consultation for free. So in all these situations, I would start off by talking to the professional. Now remember, in all of this, I'm not a lawyer. Any information I give you here is just speculation on my part, and please do not take this as being representative of what a lawyer would tell you, because it's not. This is just a starting point for you to start thinking about this, and certainly do not take any of this advice as being definitive and correct. It might be completely wrong, right? But I would go get a half an hour, 30-minute, 1 hour consultation with a real lawyer, probably cost you a zip, to find out whether or not what you want to do even makes sense. You don't want to go down this path to try to set all this up. And it's going to cost you a little bit of money. I mean, in Oklahoma, it's $58 just to go file for the lawsuit. You're going to have to serve papers on them. That's going to cost you another $100 or $200. You've got to have all the documents written up, which you may have to go get somebody to do that for you. There is some expenses. This is not a zero cost to do this. And then there's the whole emotional and time element of this, and the possibility that you go through all this and you don't win, and you're even more pissed off than you were in the beginning. So, be realistic. All right, get a lawyer. How long does this take? Typically, these things are resolved within 60 days, a couple of months. From when you file the paperwork till you have your day in court, 60 days, maybe considerably less. Where do you sue? You have to sue the person in the place that they live, best of my knowledge. You cannot sue somebody. I live in Oklahoma. I cannot sue somebody in Oklahoma who lives in California. There might be contracts you have in place that say this contract You sell a dog to somebody in Oklahoma and in somebody in California, and you live in Oklahoma, and the contract says it's by the rules and regulations of Oklahoma. That might be a different situation, but that is not going to be in a small claims court. And by the way, who can you not sue? Somebody in jail. You can't sue somebody in jail because they can't get there. Your biggest problem is issues of evidence, is to show what happened really happened. And for the most part, this requires that you have expert testimony of the people who said this is what happened. Just a written document from that person to say, yeah, Dr. Matutik did this and my dog died. They're going to have to be there to be able to be deposed, to be able to be cross-examined, and they've got to be credible. So this is the biggest problem you've got, is issues of evidence. So let's just talk about that. Be factual. Be succinct. Have everything in a document package. I mean, give you an example. You gave tutorial on dog breeding to somebody, and to somebody's son. And 10 minutes into the conversation with this person you're trying to teach, they took your laptop and they threw it out the window and it smashed to the ground. And you've got a picture of the smashed up laptop, and the defendant says, yeah, I threw it out the window for whatever reason. And the judge asks you what the damages are, and you say, well, that was a special laptop with a Cyrillic keyboard made out of narwhal teeth that I had made by a Guatemalan emigree. The value of that is something in the order of $10,000. That's not what the judge wants to hear. What the judge wants to hear is, it's going to take $10,000 to replace that keyboard, and here's the evidence as to what it cost when I had it done. You need to have all this laid out in a package that you give to the judge, and that you can say, go to, when he says, what's the cost, you can say, it's in page 6 of the documents. Go look at that, and it's all there for you, Your Honor. Be brief, be polite, be succinct, and have the evidence in hand, and don't lie. Don't argue with the judge. If you don't like what the judge's saying, shut the hell up. You can explain your case if you think you've got it wrong, but don't push it too hard. The judge is there to come up with a decision quickly, and they're going to do that based on the believability of you versus the believability of the defendant and the evidence that you give to support what you're saying. So be clear, concise, and have good documentation. And if necessary, have a witness on hand who can know. If, for instance, the breeder who you bought the dog from, they say that this dog is worth $50,000. It'd be good if they're in the courtroom so they could explain why that dog cost $50,000 with an affidavit that showed that you paid $50,000 for the dog. Right. So when do you go to court? You will get a docket date, and it will be, you have to file the correct paperwork with the county clerk court's office. Then they'll give you a date. The papers have got to be served on the other person, and it's going to be fairly soon. And you need to be there for it. You cannot not show up. Will there be a jury? No, it's just the judge. You're arguing this in front of the judge, and the judge is going to make the decision. And you need to know what the legal situation is for the law that you're complaining about. You need to have some understanding. This is not a simple thing. This is complex. The law is complex, and you need to have some idea about what you are claiming is reasonable and is legal in terms of what you want to happen. So don't go in just saying, you've got to get prepared for this. So you've got to go do your research. You are the lawyer. You've got to do the work. And the legal presumptions change by state. They change by, you're going to sue the person in the state of Oklahoma and the county of Beckham County. You need to know what the legal situation is in that county, because it could be completely different than it might be in Texas. Can you settle this before you go to court? Absolutely you can. You can settle this the moment you're just about to walk into the courtroom door. The guy might say to you that you're going to sue, says, you wanted $50,000. Can I pay you $30,000 and make this thing go away? If that's good for you, get it done right there and then. Absolutely. You can actually do that, but you better have some signed documents that you both agree on what's going to happen. Remember, you sue somebody, there could be a counterclaim. if you have missed some of the things that happen here, and you've got a contributing factor to this whole thing, and you're not admitting to that, you may be in a situation where the other party, the defendant, they're pissed at you because of some of the things that you did. But they've been like, it's not worth suing James for this, and we're just going to let this thing go. James comes and sues them, and all of a sudden it's like, well, the hell with this crap. We're going to sue him for this because he was the one who really caused the problem. Be careful, because you go to court doesn't mean you're going to win. And because you go to court doesn't mean that you might not get sued. There could be counterclaims. So you win. When do you get the money? Well, you'll get a summary judgment. The judge will say you're getting X number. It's going to be a monetary value, or it could be a replacement of something, like you're going to get a dog as a replacement of something. But you're going to get something that's written up that says you get this. Now, if the person doesn't pay it, then you can have an arrest warrant put on that person, and I think you go arrest warrant for whatever the dollar figure is, and I believe you then get the money for it. Or you can have an asset hearing where you can go in front of the judge with that person. They show what their assets are. You can say, I want this. You can garnish wages. You can put liens on property and houses and cars. Those are all things that you can do to get paid. But just because you've won doesn't mean you're going to get paid. And that's another whole battle that can cost you more money and more court time again. And if you're suing somebody who doesn't have any money, good luck. Because they're just going to disappear into the woodwork and you'll probably not get anywhere with it. There might be an arrest warrant out for them, but they never get arrested. Nobody's particularly interested in picking up John Smith for a $500 claim. The police have got other things to do, and this is not top of their priority. So remember, you can go through this whole process, win, get a summary judgment, and still never get any money. Will there be a record of what's going on? No. Well, there's a written record by the court clerk that you can get a copy of, and that's it. I don't think this is publicized anywhere. You know, this thing is just handled in the courtroom, typically within a few hours, and the whole thing goes away, and there's a summary judgment for somebody, or the whole thing gets pushed out of court. There's something else I was going to say when I was looking at that, and now I've completely forgotten what it is. So it can't have been too important, can it? So again, have I ever been to small claims court? No. Has anybody tried to take me to small claims court? No. Have I ever thought about going to small claims court? Yes. Did I decide it wasn't worth going? Absolutely. So all of this, I don't have a lot of experience here. So in all of these things, what do? Well, I talk to people about stuff, I do some research, I think about what I do in their situation, and then I come up with a talk that I hope is relevant to what's going on. But remember, not a vet, I'm not a vet, and neither am I a lawyer, and this may be terrible advice. Take it for what it's worth. The value of it might be zero, or it might be even worse than that. But there you go, small claims court. It's a solution possibly for you. Bye.
Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate people who subscribe to me. It helps me, encourage me to do more of these videos. But do remember, disclaimer here, I am not a vet. I'm not a licensed medical professional. I'm purely a person who's been breeding dogs for the last couple of decades. Any information that you got from this video, use at your own risk. There's nothing implied here, and certainly this should not be used as a substitute for advice from your veterinarian or your medical professional. I hope you enjoyed the video. Come back for more of them. Bye.